Hi, my name is Ken, and you're watching Mastering UX. Today I wanted to talk to you about 3 words that are really a guide for you to go through the process of coming up with an innovation solution. So those 3 words are desirability, feasibility, and viability. These 3 words, I've got them drawn up in kind of a circle that overlap each other. And what you want to know is that these 3 elements need to have some kind of convergence in order to have a solution that's going to work for you. The reason why we're going to be talking about this as UX practitioners is I believe as UX practitioners, we've become the stewards of design thinking. I know there's other professionals that employ design thinking, but as the ones who are really getting put out there and doing train the trainer type of things and bringing people into workshops, UX has really taken the forefront and the lead on picking up this discipline of design thinking. The first word that I wanted to bring you to is this word desirability. And so the questions are, is this solution solving the right problem? Is this something that people really do want? So a desirable solution is one that customers definitely want and they definitely need. I think when we think of desirability, we may be thinking of something extremely attractive, something like an Apple product that's shiny and has a certain kind of feel to it. But desirability may include things that give you security or confidence, or it may reduce friction, solve problems. There's a lot of aspects to desirability that need to be included. Desirability, I would say, needs to be the first focus of your journey of coming up with something innovative, because ultimately it doesn't matter how feasible your solution is, it doesn't matter how many features, how good something is, if people actually don't want it. Of course, whether it's viable or not, there's no way that you can build a business upon something that people don't want. The next word is feasibility. So feasibility is the idea of building upon the core strengths and the operational strengths that your organization has. So for feasibility, you really need to take a look at your company as a person. People, as you know, have their strengths and their weaknesses. There's things that I'm good at and there's things that I'm not good at. And I'm sure for you, there's things that you're good at and there's things that you're not good at. Well, companies, they have dynamics. There's things that they find themselves better at. One of the things that larger companies tend to, be better about is they've got a certain kind of stability. They have a lot of different kind of departments. They have a robustness. Oftentimes they have the funding, and that enables them to be strong and carry out certain kind of things and new ventures in a certain kind of way. Also, a startup company who has nothing to lose, and maybe people that are very young, they also have their strengths. And if a company wanted to build a marketing program that was going to be based on very irreverent humor, that's something where a startup company can go ahead and start doing, and they don't have much reputation out there. They could fail at it and it's completely okay. So they have the strength of being able to take more risk. Where a larger company, they may have the budget to build up a great marketing department with writers and do a lot of things, but they may not be the right people to carry out this initiative of doing something that's very pushing the envelope in a certain kind of way. Okay. The next one is viability, and viable solution is one that is it's sustainable in its business model. So this is something where feasibility very much looks at the technological side of things of whether we can do things, or it could be just any kind of capability. Viability is taking a look at especially the financial aspect of it and the long-term profitability of it. And so I know, like in the 2000 era, companies were coming up with all kinds of innovative, desirous kind of websites, the .com era. And what they found was some of those companies ended up finding a viable business model. Some of those companies didn't know what their business model would be, and they actually ended up succeeding. But you see that companies like pets.com, they didn't do so well. Well, there's a lot of different things that can be risked to you. I think companies that are built on trends or fashions or fads, things that are very popular today, those companies need to be asking the questions, is this something that's viable for the long term, or is this something that's just kind of a tulip mania for the time? So I wanted to bring to you a couple of companies so that it could help better illustrate what is desirability, what is feasibility, and what is viability. So let's take, for example, the company Apple. And what are they trying to innovate with? Of course, we already know that Apple's a very innovative company. They've been successful. They've been very good at working with this dynamic of desirability. Of course, we know their products are desirable. We know their companies have feasibility. They've figured out how to both get these products out to market, do it in a successful way with, relative quality. All this can be debated. And they also have a certain kind of viability where the company has been doing this long enough to where they're showing that they can grow for a very long period of time. Well, their most recent endeavors are to get into augmented reality. I believe this is one of their more risky kind of adventures that they're trying to do. I don't want to come up with solutions. I don't want to make judgment calls. But the idea of these three words is really just for you to generate questions. If you were Apple, you need to ask questions along the line of, is our augmented reality solution something that's desirable? Do people want this? What kind of problems is it solving? Continuously, it's not a one-time thing. In the matter of feasibility, they're going to have to ask their questions. Can we build these certain kind of hardware devices if that's what they're going for? Is this something that they can kind of get implemented into the software without, using up all the battery life? All these kind of things. Can they do it? And then on the side of viability, they're going to have to ask themselves, is this a solution that can last for the long term? Okay. Well, let's take a look at Costco. So Costco, we may not think of Costco as an innovative company, but Costco has generated a lot of desirability. People love getting a good deal. They love quality. They like even the idea of membership, I would say, that they're kind of exclusive and that they're getting the sort of the privilege of being able to have access to certain kinds of deals. So they figured out a way to really kind of produce high quality, low price shopping experience, and it's gotten quite broad. They've learned how to extend that, and they've given this kind of treasure hunt experience. I think Costco is a good example of someone that's been very innovative. As far as their feasibility, they've definitely proven that good at things like logistics, promotion, marketing. They're able to work with their suppliers. They have a lot of things that they're good at. And they're also have a very viable business. Well, what Costco, the way they're trying to grow is they're trying to make innovations in their logistics. Honestly, I don't know a whole lot about this program, but, I can only imagine that Costco, has done a lot of things with logistics. And so they probably can do this in a feasible way. How does this relate to desirability? Well, I really don't know. They're going to have to ask these questions. Is this going to give people better products? Is it going to give people the products faster? Is it going to improve the online experience that they have? Or is this going to be something that's going to drive down the cost of their items? Is it going to help them innovate to bring their products into markets that they'd never been into? There's a whole host of things that can create desirability. For viability, will these logistics, will they bring in kind of this long-term sustainable benefit to them? Those are the questions that they're also going to have to ask. So I wanted to bring up another company, Peloton, because this is a company that experienced a stock price that kind of skyrocketed, especially during the pandemic time. And then it's really starting to take a plunge because investors are starting to question sort of the viability of Peloton. And the reason why they're doing this is they're looking at how is Peloton going to generate future growth on their company. Their endeavor, their innovation, where they're directing their strategy is that they're desiring to really make the subscription model a lot stronger. Of course, they're still going to be selling, things like their bike, and they're trying to come up with a flywheel bike and improve upon that. But their main strategy is they really want to be more of a subscription service. And so investors are questioning the viability of this because they're saying, well, Apple can work with a subscription model, generate growth because everybody has one of them, not everybody, but such a large percentage, even of the entire world has one of their devices. And so now they just need to get more subscriptions, more app downloads, more purchases. on something that people already have in their hands? These are the kind of questions that Peloton is going to be facing. Am I saying that they're going to fail? No. Are these questions that they need to kind of go through? Absolutely, as they're trying to innovate. What about a company like Lululemon? Lululemon is very innovative at coming up with materials that have a certain kind of feel. They made it big and coming out with a bra that, was sort of touted for being a bra that you can hardly feel that it's on. They're very good at this kind of idea, the feel of it. Well, in their feasibility, they've also built a very good kind of chain of their distribution. They know how to manufacture, design. They know how to get to the stores, retail, market, do all these different kinds of things. So they have a lot of strengths going for them. And so their area of growth that they wanted to get into is they want to develop their men's market, and they also wanted to continue down of generating more materials with sort of expanding this matter of the feel of the material. And that's sort of their special thing. Is this something that is viable? I wouldn't say that it's not viable, but the one thing that I would question for Lululemon, or ask them to question, is should they create another brand? Is Lululemon going to be something that, even if their materials are the best feeling material, is this a trend that's going to eventually die? Are they better off coming out with another sort of brand that takes a different take on things? Well, I think one thing that could kind of jeopardize their future in kind of having a long-term sustainable growth is that people may just find that Lululemon is passé in the next 5 years. So I'm not saying that that's the case for Lululemon. What I'm trying to say is, along this line of desirability, feasibility, and viability, these are the kind of questions that need to come up. And as a design thinking practitioner, you need to be directing the ones that you're coaching in this way, and realizing that you can be generating ideas along, finding new problems and questions. And you also can be converging ideas, narrowing ideas to make sure that the ideas that you're coming out within your design thinking are ideas that are both feasible and viable, and not just desirable. I feel like as UX practitioners, we're pretty good at the desirable piece. And we tend to be the ones that push the envelope and want more investment. But we also want to be the ones that know how to coach our business to be innovative in their way of creating solutions that balance their the desirability piece with feasibility and viability. So there you have it. Those are the kind of 3 words. Again, these are the mainstay that IDEO's come up with in 2000 for innovation and design thinking. I hope you find this helpful. Thanks for sticking with me, and I'll see you on the next episode.